Have you been struggling to improve your gear in likeadragonishin? Does the enhancing system not make any sense to you? Are you struggling to get seals? Well, hopefully this video will give you the answers to everything you need relating to the Blacksmith and seal system. None of this information is given to you by the game, so everything I'm going to talk about comes from multiple people putting in dozens of hours of testing. Unfortunately, there are fringe cases and reports of the systems not working as they should, but everything in this video should be as correct as we currently know without looking through the code. Before we get started, you're going to need a lot of money, and I do mean a lot. There are a few ways to go about this. First is through chicken racing, which I have a short guide on linked up in the top right. You'll also want a ton of silver hammers for this process, so I'd recommend this the most. The second is through battle dungeons, but you'll probably want to hold off on some of the later ones as you'll need upgraded weapons to run through them quickly. The third is through growing and trading crops in another life. This doesn't make nearly as much as the other two, but still supplements your funds since the more you trade, the more valuable what you trade becomes. Next up, you're going to want to buy weapons to donate. Donating increases the quality of the blacksmith, which improves his services and allows you to craft more equipment. When donating, the only thing that matters is the quality of the weapon, with gray giving you the least XP and gold giving you the most. I would recommend buying 104 bundle blades from the gear shop southwest of the blacksmith for something we're going to go over soon. They're pretty cheap, but you're still going to be dropping a hefty sum. As for quality, you can improve those through hammers. The type of hammer you use determines how much the next weapon is increased in quality, with iron not increasing it, bronze increasing it by 1, silver by 2, and so on. The quality also affects the damage or defense and how many empty seal slots the equipment will have when crafted. You can get iron and bronze hammers from the blacksmith material store after upgrading it, silvers from the gambling den, and goldens from later dungeons. Once you're stocked up on swords, hammers, and a couple hundred ryo, head back to the blacksmith. What I recommend is to donate 55 bundle blades to upgrade the material shop to level 5, which gives you the ability to stock up on metal sheets and precious steel. Then, start upgrading your bundle blades with silver hammers into the keen blade, and again into stone carvers so they end up gold tier. It should take about 49 gold stone carvers to go from level 5 to 20, so in total you'll need all of these materials. Now that you've donated all these weapons and maxed out the blacksmith, you'll notice that the cost of crafting has gone down significantly. The process of crafting itself is relatively simple. The grid displays lines that show which items turn into what, and the amount of materials required is shown at the bottom right. Looking at the arsenal in front of you, you'll notice a lot of equipment have seals on them, their effects shown by pressing Y or triangle. Seals apply minor effects that make each piece of equipment better. There are two different kinds of seals, sphere seals for weapons and square seals for gear. Sphere seals also have two types as well, one for guns and one for swords. On screen now is the list of every seal in the game that you can apply to your equipment. A lot of equipment have seals inherent to them, however. This is indicated by these silver pins locking them in place so they can't be obtained when you disassemble them. On the other hand, when you craft new equipment with empty slots, you can rarely get a seal that isn't locked in. From this point on, when I refer to seals, I'm specifically talking about this kind. The seal chosen is determined by what specific equipment you craft and is guaranteed when you craft it. In the description is a link to a mostly complete spreadsheet showing which items can have which seals. You'll occasionally find unlisted seals ending up on items you craft, but you can use the spreadsheet as a baseline for when you're looking for specific ones. The seal applied to the item will always be the same seal no matter how many times you reload, meaning you can't save scum to try for different seals on that one item. This is because seals work based on a random seed system. A random seed is a number that sets up how the RNG works going forward, RNG meaning random number generations. How this applies to Ishin is that when you craft something, it is guaranteed to either have or not have a seal, no matter how many times you reload. For example, say you craft 5 stone carvers and the third one has a seal in its slot. No matter how many times you reload, stone carver 3 will always have that specific seal in that slot. What this also means is that anything you craft for the third item will have a seal as well, so long as they have an empty slot. So say I crafted a red headband instead of the third stone carver, that red headband would also have a seal, just a different one. So this means you're at the mercy of RNG, right? Yes, but there is a way to manipulate it. See, the seed only progresses when you craft something that has an empty slot. This means that by crafting something that doesn't, you're generating a new seed. So here's the strategy. Save your game, then craft 4 gray stone carvers, as the gray ones have an empty slot. If none of them have seals, reload the game and craft a gray keen blade, since it won't have a slot. Save again, and craft 4 more stone carvers. If the RNG is in your favor, one of those stone carvers might have a seal that wouldn't have had one before. If not, repeat the process until success. You can adjust the number of stone carvers you craft based on how many resources and how much time you're willing to spend. Hey, so I was recording footage and I solidified another important aspect of this manipulation. The specific hammers you use matter. In the clip on the left, I made a blue stone carver, then 2 gray ones, with the second one having a seal. On the right, however, I reloaded back and did the same thing, but with all of them gray, and the third one did not have a seal. Here are 2 more clips of me crafting 5 stone carvers, the left side all gray and the right side all blue. The gray side got a seal on the 5th one, while the blue one didn't. This means you need to be specific about the hammers you use as you push the seed forward, as each hammer type, as far as I can tell, is on its own seed, but also affects the other hammer seeds as well. Thankfully for my testing, this doesn't come into play when the next item is guaranteed to have a seal, so you're safe to use any hammer there since having multiple empty slots means each slot has a chance for a seal. Hey, so it's me from even further than what you just heard. Patch 1.04 dropped in the midst of working on this, and among other changes, they increased enemy item drop rates and made hard to obtain seals drop in dungeons. I can 100% attest to the first one, especially when you grind dungeons. It isn't rare for every other enemy to drop an item, even without having greed seals slotted in. When you do, however, you can get some insane results. On the other hand, this also means that enemies in street battles drop more items. The unfortunate side effect is that the quality of these items has not been adjusted like they were before. You'll still get good materials dropping as you get later into the game, but now you'll be getting white and green items throughout your whole playthrough. It also feels like equipment that drop in the dungeon more commonly have seals on them. This run here had several gear pieces drop, most of them having the rare blessing seal slotted in. From what I can tell, any piece of gear that uses some kind of dragon material has a chance to get it now, but I also got a purgatory to drop with it as well. I've only experienced getting the heavy drinker seal from the very first dungeon since it's a good spot for farming sturdy lumber, but the dungeon item listings now have seals as possible drops. This doesn't affect anything related to crafting, thankfully, so everything stated so far still stands. So that's how you get seals from crafting, but there are other ways to get them. 2 in particular, street battles and dungeon weapons. The further you are in the game, the better the items drop in street battles. This means on top of better crafting materials, you're highly likely to get seals from enemies, especially if you place several greed seals on your weapons. Important to note though, the greed seal works based on which weapon deals the finishing blow. On top of that, golden sneaks have a good chance to drop rare seals, with one seal, the square special weapon seal, being exclusive to them. The best way to farm them is to go to this spot on Sonocho and talk to the palanquin. This resets the enemy spawns in the area, and you'll be able to see if a golden sneak spawns at the end of the bridge by panning your camera right. Alternatively, equip the rogue's mask and you'll be able to see how many enemies are at the end of the bridge when talking to the palanquin. Since sneaks always spawn alone, you can simply talk to him again if you see multiple enemies. Alternatively, if you get an item drop in the dungeon, there's a chance it'll be equipment instead, with weapons being shown as a sword and gear as a bag. One of the seals you can get from those weapons, Change of Heart, is exclusive to the Yoshiyuki and is only available from Rescue the Kidnapped Official 1 in the Sonata Stronghold. Equipment can also be a great source of money, so if one has a seal you don't care about, you can always just sell it. Now that we've covered how to obtain seals, we need to go over enhancing. This is the system for applying and improving the seals on an item. When you apply a seal for the first time, it starts off bronze and with the lowest possible benefit. This is improved by enhancing them to silver and gold by applying the same seal on the old one, which improves their effectiveness. This system, like crafting, is also affected by random seeds, but unfortunately, you can't reset the seed. What this means is that if you try to apply or enhance a seal and it fails, it will always fail on that attempt, no matter how many reloads. And as I said, there isn't a way to reset the seed, meaning that you'll have to push the seed forward by applying a different seal to something else. You also can't use the percentages of seals as a true guideline, since functionally, seals either always succeed or fail. This does mean that you can determine whether a seal will fail or succeed, as long as the seals have the same percentage. For example, these 2 double shot seals have a 33% chance to enhance from bronze to silver. If I apply both at the same time and the first one fails while the second succeeds, that means I can apply a random seal to something else which pushes the seed forward, and reapply the first greed seal and guarantee it'll work. Then, I just continue to apply junk seals to other things until the other one succeeds. The percentages are really funky as well. From what I can tell, each percentage is effectively on its own timeline. What this means is that the game has already decided whether or not each specific percentage seal will succeed or fail on the next application or enhancement. This means you could end up with such bad luck that every seal above 33% will fail, but your 33% enhancement will successfully apply, or vice versa, where a 33% will fail dozens of times in a row. This doesn't mean that only one particular percentage will succeed, just that each percentage is completely independent from the others. This still means that a 33% chance seal has lower odds than a 90% chance one. It also means you can't use two differing percentages as cues for their successes. Effectively, the game is still randomized whether or not your next non-100% seal will be applied to a weapon, and you can't affect it through safe scumming. Thanks for watching the explanation portion of the video. Everything from here on out is ranting about the system and how much I dislike it. Wholeheartedly, this is one of the worst things RGG Studios has put into a game, and I'm genuinely not sure how it got through QA testing. Nothing about it is intuitive or explained, and it's insanely complicated compared to the original release of Ishin. In that game, all you had to do to get a seal on something was craft the thing with the seal you want and infuse it into the other thing you wanted with a little minigame that determined its quality. Combine all this RNG garbage with the fact that even with the fully upgraded Blacksmith, the total cost to craft everything is over 6 times as expensive as the original. They also reduced the overall payout from chicken racing since platinum plates give you about 3/8 their original value, which makes you even more reliant on the endless battle dungeon grinding this game makes you do for some of the later materials, as well as weapons to sell. Even if you really enjoyed the game, you can't deny that the system is atrociously designed and made to waste your time. Sure, you can say, oh, that's just for completion. You don't need to do that. But the fact is, this is still an intentionally designed part of the game that RGG Studio expects players to engage with. Even on a casual playthrough, you're still going to end up messing with it unless you're playing on easy or maybe normal, and if you want to learn more, the game doesn't tell you anything. If you're playing on PC, I highly recommend just downloading some mods from Nexus or the Yakuza modding community Discord to completely bypass all of this. As of making this video, there are a few mods that get rid of RNG for enhancing, as well as a few that just let you buy some of the more useful seals. In the end, I genuinely think it's just not worth fully completing this game. I've already got the Platinum Trophy for the original release on PS4, and that grind was too much already. I'm eventually gonna get the 100% on Steam since I'm pretty close to finishing it, but if you're thinking of going for it, do something else instead for your own sake. Ishin's not worth it. Congratulations if you got to the end of the video. If you're still confused or you have any information I might have missed, please comment below. I hope this video helped. Thank you for watching.